All right, guys, I'm going to do my best to do this review for you right now because I'm all kind of amped up after just getting out of the theaters. And I know I'm going to miss something. I know I'm going to forget something, but this is a Pop Culture Crisis movie review. My name is Brett, and I'm here to talk to you today, guys, about the film The Creator from director and co-writer Gareth Edwards. Of course, if you know, he did Star Wars Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. And this movie, guys, look... let's before we get into it, let's do a synopsis first. So it says, against the backdrop of a war between humans and robots with artificial intelligence, a former soldier finds a secret weapon, a robot in the form of a young child. Now, this movie, it stars John David Washington, that is Denzel Washington's son. He is making quite a name for himself in Hollywood right now. Obviously, if you saw Tenet, I know I might be the only person on planet Earth who loved that movie, but I love that movie. You know, all flaws aside, I love that movie. He was also in the movie Amsterdam. You know, as Denzel Washington's son, he's got a lot to live up to, but I think he's doing good work right now. Now, the other star of this movie, the big star of this movie, is a young girl by the name of Madeline Una Voiles, and that is a name you might want to remember, guys, because this is not a teenager, this is not an adult, this is a young child, and she gives an unbelievable performance in this film. It also stars Gemma Chan. Obviously, you know her from movies like The Eternals, all sorts of stuff. And look, this is a film about humanity dealing with the outcome of artificial intelligence as war breaks out. But this film, guys, it was absolutely fantastic. So if I had to visually give it a comparison, I would say it reminded me of Dune meets Cyberpunk in a way. And Gareth Edwards did this without green screens. He did this on a Sony FX3, which is like an entry-level cinema camera. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is an $80 million movie that looks like it was made on a $250 million budget. Lots of on-site locations, and I think it shows. Look, the film has a feeling of almost perpetual dusk for the first half of the movie, which aids greatly in making the CGI really, really, really work. But once it goes to daytime, there's very little in the way of change there. And that is just unbelievable to see in an age now where you watch a Marvel movie where they dump $300 million into these films, and it just looks like visual vomit on screen. And all of that done at the expense of stories, which are, you know, plundered from these properties that are, you know, decades upon decades old. And you'd think that the reason they were sacrificing better stories would be so that they could make great visuals. And increasingly so, Marvel comic book movies in general seem to not be delivering on that promise. This somehow gives you both on half the budget. The story is fully developed, fully realized. It's matched in its cinematography, in its set design, in its costume design. Every part of this world feels real. It feels lived in. You feel as if the battle between the simulants and the humans has been going on for ages. And the CGI, when you get not just the wides, right? Not just the wide shots, when you get to see these broad landscapes, but also the CGI when you see the side of the simulants' heads, when you see John David Washington's character's arm, it's seamless and it's beautiful and it's amazingly done. And it makes you wonder why we as a culture, as cinema goers, settle for less now. We're doing this in movies that are constantly insulting our intelligence. Here's another thing about this movie. You watch this whole film, and it's taken seriously. It doesn't stop every 5 minutes for a bunch of jokes and lighthearted humor that take down the actual gravity of the story they're trying to tell. The movie takes itself seriously, which allows you, the audience, to take it seriously, on top of the fact that the visuals draw you in and keep you immersed in this film. And what it becomes is a story about things like human sentience is obviously a topic that you're going to hear. The ethics of technology, you know, whether human beings are actually capable, you know, of not doing the dastardly thing that so much of it does. In a way, it reminds me of many of the zombie tales that we see now, you know, especially with The Walking Dead, where you could think of the AI, at least this is my interpretation of it, right? And I could be completely wrong, for all I know. But you see a story like The Walking Dead, and sure, the zombies are part of the story, but at the end of the day, the evil of humanity tends to be the greater threat. And in a lot of ways, this is a pretty daring film in the stance that it takes. First of all, everyone not just the humans, but the stimulants, the simulants are attempting to use this young child, which they refer to as a weapon. Even John David Washington's character, even the character of Joshua, is in a way trying to get something from this child, but their relationship grows, and obviously I'm not going to give away how it develops, but it's fantastic. Gemma Chan delivers when she needs to deliver in this film. Allison Janney, not the role I would have expected her to be in here, to be this kind of ruthless military general. It sounds ridiculous if by the way, she hasn't aged. If I'm remembering correctly, she was in 10 Things I Hate About You, and I don't think she's aged a day since that film. But you get Ken Watanabe, you get so many of these incredible actors. A lot of what Hollywood wants to do today, and a lot of what people complain about, is forced diversity. This movie has unbelievably diverse characters, diverse casts amongst humans, amongst simulants, amongst it's all over the place, right? You get actors from different countries, all this stuff, and it fits because in this world, that's how it would be. And I cannot give Gareth Edwards enough credit on this. Like right now, one of those things that we complain about so much when we watch movies is that we're spoon-fed the same garbage over and over again. Well, this is a movie that does not spoon-feed you the same garbage over and over again, and I think it made $14 million this weekend, which breaks my heart because I want to see movies like this do well, because if we're going to continue to try and, like battered spouses go back to the well of Hollywood and continually be disappointed, we can't really complain if we don't show up to support the films that they actually decide to take a risk on, which they absolutely do in this film. And it seems like the themes are almost too gray, right? At the end of the movie, it comes down to an amazing moment of what I would call human connection, or at least special connection between Alfie, which is the young girl, and Joshua. But like the themes and oftentimes the characters, it's so gray that Hollywood really does insult your intelligence and think that you as the individual aren't capable of enjoying something like that. Like you need to be spoon-fed who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. I think there are people that will probably call certain elements of this film a bit derivative, and I don't think they would be wrong, but I think the movie does such a good job of living in its own world that won't bother you. The only other critique I would have is the power level of the Alfie character is so immense that there are points in the film where you actually realize that it would have been a MacGuffin. Like they could have ended so many conflicts if they had just allowed the girl to use her powers to their fullest. It was like almost like the script couldn't figure out how not to. Now you could make the argument here that look, she's young, she's untrained. I get that, but I think that there will be certain people, she's young, she's untrained, she's emotional. So there's people that will say like, look, they can reason their way into that justification, and I think that's valid. I think that's perfectly fine. But it was so much fun. A lot of the elements where they talk about what our current year issues with AI are kind of cherry picked and thrown into the film as a way of kind of filling out the script. There's a part in the film where they talk about get your likeness scanned, do your part. All of these things, which are the very real concerns that we have here. Now, we're not at the war yet. We are not humans versus sentient robots yet, but we have these similar concerns that are addressed in a minor fashion as the backdrop of where this film goes. And I think it works really, really well. The film wrapped up beautifully. It did what I felt it needed to do as a story. It was about 2 hours and 15 minutes, which for me, most films, I'm one of those people, I'm like, get you in and out. I want to be in and out of the theater in under 2 hours, but this one, it felt earned. It delivered on it. I was engaged and I was emotional at the end. I really was. I think part of it is just like I've just been waiting so much for Hollywood to give me new things, for Hollywood to take a chance every once in a while. So maybe I'm a little bit biased here because they were giving me what I wanted already in that notion, but just the combination of the unbelievable visual effects, the fantastic, fully realized art style, the serious tone that refuses to bend the knee to the marvelized humor that we get in all science fiction these days, where the stakes are completely obliterated by the fact that the people in these very really real dangerous situations refuse to take it as seriously as they're expecting us to take it. It was fantastic. fantastic, guys. I really do believe that if you have not totally given up on Hollywood, and I understand that a lot of you have, I get that. If you have not totally given up on Hollywood, if you do still want to explore the idea of being able to go to a cinema to look at something that is visually breathtaking with a fantastic story, I recommend you get up, go out next weekend, go and check out this film, The Creator. I don't think you will be disappointed. That's about the highest recommendation I can give it. So go out, check out this film, and we'll be back with more Pop Culture Crisis movie reviews soon. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.